So I'll call to order the select board meeting as of Monday, April 24th, 2017. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, up first,
Manifest.
the manifest for accounts payable and payroll. If I could have a motion.
So I'll make a motion to pay the accounts payable for 4/25/2017 and 4/24/2017 and 4/10/2017.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up are the minutes. We have both the public and the non-public. Did everybody get a chance to look at the revisions that have been made? Do we want a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as corrected for April 10th, 2017.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Non-public?
Make a motion to accept the non-public minutes of March 27th, 2017.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. BOS reports from assigned boards and committees.
Haven't heard anything yet on last time.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Planning board met and set up some priorities that they'll work on. I don't remember all of them, but update on the floodplain. There's one other one that staff is gonna work on, both pretty minor. We'll be having a presentation on dark skies. We'll probably have a subcommittee that will work on that, revising that ordinance. I don't know if it if that will be done this year or next year. And there's a subcommittee that's working on roads. And I think we were just gonna monitor the ADU, the accessory dwelling unit, bills that are before in legislation right now. Because they keep changing them, so every time we change it, then they change it again, so we figured let's just see what they do first before we
Yeah.
bring that forth. That was it. Town administrator report.
All right, we have 2 new police officers. Graduated Friday.
Great.
Tyler Courier and Michael McNeil. Saw Mike driving today. One of them still has to take up a couple more tests before they're certified, but they're both on the job today and off and running. Nice little ceremony last week. They seem to be in good spirits. We'll get them both here to meet you at some point once they've got their feet under them and the schedule lines up right. But it's been a long time coming. There's some pent-up vacation time in the police department that hasn't been able to be taken for a long time, and Chief's really looking forward to being able to have, particularly on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, we're going to have some depth of coverage in ways that we've just never had before. In times when we're fully staffed, we'll have sectors. We'll have one car on one side of town and one car on the other side of town, which is and a supervisor. So that's a new and novel thing.
An FYI, I've met some of these new guys too. They come to me all hours of the day and night because I'm a notary and a JP. So they give me a call, want to know if I'll sign a warrant and this and that. So they're actually kind of interesting. Some of these affidavits I got to read before I sign the warrant. But I have got to meet the new guys, when they've been tagging along with the regular officer. So
Yeah, won't be long.
yeah.
PD also hired a new prosecutor, Karen Springer, expecting improved service levels with that switch, and the prosecutor's actually going to spend some time here in the station each week, do the office work here in the station, which is also a new thing. Get a little more face time with our officers and do a little bit less by phone and email. So
It's just a private attorney that does that.
Yep. The Lakeview construction is underway, off to a good start. The grinding or the reclaiming's been done, and that was finished up, I think, Thursday. I drove it Friday. It's already better. It's not done, but so far so good, and generally good feedback. Worked out some things with driveway owners and catch basin owners and things, and that's all gone pretty well. So knock on wood, no major surprises or obstacles yet, and on track to finish well before the Memorial Day chaos begins over there. So far so good. Rec camp open today. That's not the noise you hear right now, but vacation camp, we've got 24, 25 kids in camp, so full essentially. In your mail file here is the new program for the summer activities. Camp registration opens in about a week. Big increases in numbers last year, so hoping to see that again this year. If you want to peek through that. The rest of this is mostly noise. There's checks and tax forms and things in there for you. The legislature approved and the governor signed last week a solution to the March election postponement that was rational and achievable and should solve all the problems. Basically, the election of officers has been ratified, so any person that was elected is in office, and that's settled. And then everything else, you can hold a public hearing that's published in the paper and noticed and whatnot. Hold a public hearing, hear from the public any concerns, and then if you so choose, you can vote to ratify as a select board, vote to ratify the election results, or the voting results of things other than elections. So that's pretty much exactly what you asked for in the letter you sent to our local delegation. That's about what played out, and seems to be settled. So, if you have no objections, I'll schedule that, public hearing for your next meeting, the 8th of May, and, you can bang that out, and then town meeting can really be over.
Sounds good.
Let's see, I had asked you by email, but didn't hear back from many of you about moving forward with the ambulance purchase. We have a purchase and sale agreement ready to go for the price that we had talked about during the budget process and at town meeting. That same Dodge, what is it? Dodge 4500, same price with the trade-in and whatnot. And I just need you to nod your head so I can move that forward unless you have any questions or concerns about it. It's as we proposed and,
Yep.
okay. That's it for things that aren't listed on the agenda, which is next, and I can start walking you through those things if you wish. Unless you have other questions or,
The only question I had was on the notice for Pawtuckaway for the timber harvest. Should we post something like that just on the
Yeah, we can do that.
bulletin board?
yep, yeah, people may see
Website.
things and be curious or
Yeah,
whatever.
'cause
Yep.
just to-
I think she posted that there, and I think she scans it and then puts it on the accepting letter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. If not, I'll, she's done it in the past,
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll check and see if she'll do it again.
Okay.
thank you, Don.
We have 2 annual merit increases in your signature file. The first thing on the agenda is the review and sign the MS 232 appropriation. That is just the last step in the town notifying DRA of what was voted on at town meeting, what the final dollars were. And this looks exactly like what we walked into town meeting with the exception of the 2 amendments that
The
were
2
made
amendments.
to the budget, and those are reflected here. And, Don, do we need 2 copies of this signed? Is that what this is?
I would prefer them,
Okay.
just in case I actually have to mail them one. You scan it, but I never know what they really want.
Okay. So I'm gonna send that down the table once I write your names on it. The next thing is and you got electronically, thing about the state park. That's an annual affair. Same amount, it's what the state gives us or sets aside to pay detail costs essentially for the crazy season. So if you could, vote that, something off that first paragraph there, and sign. You're basically authorizing,
Motion first.
So a motion on, just what it says here?
yeah,
Make a motion, for Brian Spagna, Lieutenant, as agent authorized to sign agreements with the state of New Hampshire in regard of police detail coverage of Pawtuckaway State Park for period ending June 30th, 2018.
A second.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Standard, we do it every year. Aye.
All in favor?
all right. That's the 232. You want me to keep talking while you're signing? Or do you want to wait?
Yep, go ahead.
One of the library trustees stepped down, and the trustees have asked that one of the alternates be appointed to the full slot to take her place. They moved up to 5 members this year, and they have asked that you appoint Jennifer Phillips to that role.
Jennifer Rules?
Jennifer Phillips,
Jennifer Phillips.
yeah.
Make a motion that we
Appoint.
appoint Phillips as a library trustee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Signature too?
Yeah, I think it does.
No, I don't think, actually, I don't think you need
No?
to sign that one, no.
Oh, she does.
She does. Okay, and then last, you also got electronically, something called an agreement and release regarding building permit for a Class 6 highway. This is not something you see very often. We only have, I think, 2 Class 6 roads in town, and the total length is probably about 200 yards.
The one at the bottom, getting the pay raise here.
What's that?
This one here is getting the increase, so.
Oh, okay, just initial those.
Yeah.
Class 6 road is owned by the town, but not maintained by the town. That's what it means. It's there, it's on paper, it's a road typically, but we don't do anything to it. One of the steps that goes along with building on such a road, which is also rare because it's hard to get a loan to do such a thing, and
Right.
but some people do it anyway, is to absolve the town of any responsibility for maintaining the road because they've created a house there. We don't want to be forced to take over maintenance of a road that we never had any intention to. So what this is just a way of memorializing that. This would be filed in the registry along with anything that we have on it. So we've used something like this in the past, but it's, like I said, it's very rare. I don't remember the last time we had one, certainly not in my time here, but there is something required of the board. It may not be this complex, but in law, it's required that there be something that basically says this before the town can issue a building permit. So we stole most of the language here from another town that does more of this than we do, but that's the gist of it. And I don't know if we even have any lots left on Class 6 roads once this one's done. We may not ever have to do this again.
It happens. I remember a couple of times during my reign there.
Yeah.
And it goes hot and cold. Sometimes you might get a rash of them, and then you don't hear anything for a number of years, and then somebody finds a lot somewhere off on a private road or a Class 6 road,
Yeah.
and they have to sign that waiver in order to legally get the permit by
Yep.
statute.
And there's a little wrinkle in there where this is all possible because the Class 6 road is on an official map. If not for that, there'd be a whole different process to follow, but we have official maps that list and this is Gravel Pit Road, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Gravel Pit Road's been on the town maps for a long time, but we don't do anything with it. It's not the road to the gravel pit, which...
Can they come to town meeting ever and try to have the town assume the road, or?
Yes, there is a process to move a Class 6 road to Class 5. I don't even know if that requires a town meeting vote, because it's already a road. We already own the road.
Well, I think
But,
to upgrade it to a Class 6, I
Like a
think
build and
he
develop.
does have to go
The
to.
town, is the 6 to 5 is a town meeting upgrade? Hey, I don't know, you may have the
We've
authority.
got,
to do it, but
Haynes Road, a portion of that was done. It
Right,
was all
Yeah.
Class 6, and from the Route 4 end, a portion of that was done 15 years ago, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe not quite that long ago.
right.
The only other thing that pops up occasionally too, we might see is rangeways.
All right.
There's an issue, well, there was an issue over on Kennett Road
Yep,
regarding rangeways. So, but everything is usually calmed down once the people get into it, and once they get some of the legal opinions and stuff, they back off somewhat.
So so I get a couple of,
Is gravel pit, that's off of Smoke Street, isn't it?
What's that?
Is gravel pit off of Smoke?
no, it's between Priest and.
No, it's off
Kennard.
Priest Road, Priest and Kennett.
Kennard.
yeah.
It connects those two.
Okay.
You know where Kenneth goes from pavement to dirt?
Yeah.
It's that
Looks like a
wide.
driveway, but that's gravel.
Yeah.
I had to think about it from gravel pit road. I
It's
know.
not the road to the gravel pit. Yeah,
Now, does Joe Falzone still own some property out back there?
I think so.
That was the
Yeah.
one we were kind of expecting to see at one point,
Yeah.
trying to get his right of way from gravel pit
Yeah.
onto his, the large parcel he has goes down.
Well, this
to the-
is that. This is that.
Okay, that
It's
is.
70 acres, but this guy bought it in 2016.
Joe was planning on trying to use that as a right of way to get to his backland.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's good to know.
yeah. So this is a 70-acre parcel, but he's only looking at putting one residential house on it.
Yeah.
But we don't know exactly where on the 70 acres. he's
I
looking to put it.
think we do know. I couldn't tell you, but I think we do know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that, just, if you look at, the fourth, sentence where it starts as whereas, construction of a building on the property upon this next part of the sentence doesn't make sense, upon the filing of the within notice pursuant
Oh,
to.
yeah.
I think that's probably referencing upon filing, they need to show an evidence prior to the issuance of a building permit, this is per the RSA, the applicant shall produce evidence that notice of limits of municipal responsibility and the liability has been recorded in the county registration, county of deeds. So I think that that's probably what that was trying to say. So upon, probably should say upon filing of probably upon filing of the recording in the county registry of deeds. Something.
Something, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to redo it, whatever it is, so.
And I just wonder if, in the beginning of that, it should say building permit for the construction of a residential building on the property. I mean, that's what he wants to do, but I think just to,
Well, that's the only thing
Clear.
that's zoned, that is allowed by zoning there, so.
You mean where, instead of where it just says construction of a building on the property?
well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, it does say down below, construct a residence.
Oh, I thought that's what you were looking at.
No, that's
Same
saying
sentence?
whereas, yeah,
Okay.
just to kind of firm it up, since. And this didn't go to the planning board because it's not a subdivision,
And it's already on a planning board approved map.
and it's already on, okay.
Yep.
This doesn't have the notice in it. The notice will be, that it gets filed with the registry, is another separate document.
Right. But I think we should call out that that fact that needs to be noticed to the registry, and that there be evidence.
This could serve as the filing for the registry.
It probably does, that's
Yeah,
probably what
that's-
it, because it's
that's-
attached to the book number and stuff.
No, if this is what's filed, then this would get a book number and page number.
Yeah.
This would be the actual thing that would show up as
Yeah.
your, that's the intent, is to put this here forever.
Right.
So,
So we just want to make sure it gets done before
yeah, that's
issuing the building
if-
permit.
right, that's the steps that, all right, so we gotta fix that sentence.
Yeah, I think just fix that sentence and then, I don't know if you guys saw anything else, but.
All right, we'll do that, and we may ask you to slide through and sign it in the next couple of weeks if he's waiting on us to do that, but, or we'll come track you down for a signature on it. Any other? Anything else under?
No, then we go into general business.
Okay. You guys have anything else on before general business? Did I get all the signed stuff back? Do we?
Yeah,
anybody
you
sitting
got
on anything?
everything all signed
think
back
so,
and
yeah.
stuff, yep.
Yep, okay. Okay, so the only item on general business is our new Route 4 property. Just really a few updates, not a whole lot to do tonight. The RFP for demolition of that one building is out, and responses are due the 4th, I believe. We set it up so that you could green light it at your next meeting, so the 4th would be the third, yeah, so the 4th is the Thursday before your next meeting. So we'll be back before you with an option there 2 weeks from now. Had some conversations with a couple different people at DES. One about the potential contaminants that may or may not be there. Didn't get a whole lot from them in terms of free labor, but pretty much got a quick look over from them and a verification of what we'd been thinking. The 1,4-dioxane is the kind of thing that sometimes co-occurs with the things that had been cleaned up on that Just Cause site. But the testing wasn't possible back then to find it. They did, I think I've told you, they've tested a private well nearby and didn't find any there, but recommended pretty much that we hire somebody to look at the prior test results and give us some recommendations about what, if anything, we might want to test for going forward as a due diligence step. So Charlene and I talked about that and have reached out to a couple people regarding how we might scope out work like that. We don't want to open-ended go find an environmental consultant to tell us everything that could possibly be wrong with the site, but you know, look at what we know, look at the test results that we have from now 12 years ago, and give us a recommendation on what we might want to test for based on those. They know the co-occurrences, and they know they can look at what's been done already and hopefully give us some guidance, and then move forward with that if that's what's indicated by what we have. So I expect that at your next meeting we'll probably have a scope of work that we might want to go out and ask for professional help with. The
Ballestero possibly be used again? Did he do something like that?
I don't know if he would do something like that. I mean, that wouldn't hurt to ask, but
yeah, we got from DES a list of,
I want to stay away.
Well,
yeah.
true.
We got I don't know, 75 firms in the state that are capable of doing this. It's not a rare thing. But we can certainly throw him in the mix when the time comes.
Yeah.
And do you think we can have that? We can have that for next meeting. We got to,
I think so.
yeah. So we'll have something for you on the 8th that kind of outlines what that scope of work might look like. Second thing, in talking to DES, the only other thing that's open on the property is an administrative order for the restoration of wetlands. USA Springs was found to have disturbed wetlands in a few places and was supposed to reconstruct them in other places and take some other steps that they never did. And that's also 12 or something years old. But it's still open in the file at DES, so it'll get in the way of us trying to do anything with it. Mark West here in town has agreed to help us just kind of feel that out with DES and see what, if it's old enough now that we can do a quick walkthrough and say, okay, these things are fine, and close that out, or if we need to do more work on it. We don't know yet, but he's going to help us with that first step. He was going to talk to them Friday or today, I think, so we'll also be ready to give you some more news on that in 2 weeks, I think. Could be a situation where there's a little bit of work to be done, could be a situation where the wetlands have regenerated on their own, but it was, it was a big, long order from 2005, I think it was, that USA Springs just kind of ignored once they got it, so. So those are the big open things. I don't think there's anything else on that front to report. One administrative thing, in tax deeding it, we included 2014, but it was too early to include 2014, so we've got to refile we got to file a corrective deed that says we're tax deeding it for 2007 through 2013 instead of 2007 through 2014. It's a clerical thing essentially, but as long as you're comfortable with that, the tax collector's ready to go with that. It's a quick filing, doesn't jeopardize anything, just a cleanup item.
You sent out notices to all the abutters to...
Yep. Yeah, we've got all our paperwork in order on that now. We're ready for whatever comes down the pike with that. If we have the paper, we know where to find it now, so I think we're in good shape there. Police department's been keeping an eye on the property. They've added it to their routine. No news on the cell tower. We didn't expect any. We're just, we've gone through a round of paperwork with the cell tower company to say, hey, we're the owners now. This is how you contact us. This is where you send the checks, that kind of stuff. That's all done.
What about that billboard that's on there?
That we're tracking down the permitting on that now. We're not sure how old and valid and whatnot that is, and we don't have any experience with billboards. It's the only one in town, so we're looking at that too. It may be a DOT thing, it may be ours. We don't know. We're still learning.
It's been there a lot of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a permit. There's a number. We don't even know who issues such a thing in New Hampshire. Presume it's DOT, but I don't know. We haven't found out yet. But
Maybe your counterpart in Northwood has some idea, because they've got a
oh
couple
yeah,
of billboards
they got a
there,
bunch.
too.
Yeah. Well, if we don't get a quick answer on it, we'll get some help. But yeah, maybe it's an opportunity to make a few more bucks. I don't know.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I wish we had a little bit more substance to move forward with on it, but we haven't found anything we can't figure out yet. It just takes time. Questions or concerns on? We still need to come up with something to call it, other than the Route 4 property. Used to be owned by somebody else, and we're trying not to say that word anymore.
Right. Never. Never.
That's all I got there.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
Yes. Last fall, the end of the season there, myself and some others did a lot of work at the Veterans Memorial in front of the old town hall. And I want to get down there as soon as I can and spiff it up a little bit, do some raking and what have you. I have purchased a couple of flag holders. They're like 6-inch diameter, bronze, says U.S. Veteran. Right now, there's a flag stuck in the ground on either side of that. I want to put one of these flag holders, bronze flag holders, on either side of that. And I'm not looking to get reimbursed for it or nothing. I've got the flags and I've got those. And just wanted to let you know that I would like to do that.
How big are the flags? Well, how big will the flags be?
It's just 12 by 18s, the regular, like a gravesite flag. A 3/8 shaft that fits down. You've seen those bronze markers at the cemeteries.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got U.S. Veteran, so it's generic. It covers all the services, and
Nice.
I think that'll,
Right.
I said, well,
Watch out
plastic
for
ones are
the,
cheap. I said, no, I'm not buying plastic ones. These are bronze, cast bronze, and they're pretty decent. And they're on a brass rod that you put in the ground, so look a little bit better.
Yeah, let me know when you need a hand, I'm willing to help out as well.
watch out for that catch basin over there, that's all stove in. The catch basin,
Yeah,
it's worse, it had a bad spring or something,
the
it's,
state's gonna have to take care of that.
yeah, that's,
Worst part of that, like last year, I had 100 feet of hose comes from the back, the bathroom in the back of the building around her. So I didn't coil it up or anything, I pulled it out of the way each time, but it'll be interesting to see how well established. Some of those flowers we planted are perennials, so hopefully they'll come back up.
Yeah.
But, and I haven't stopped to look at it, I'm sure it needs a lot of TLC right now, but,
I didn't see anything blooming or sprouting,
no.
but I was across the street, so I wasn't looking that close at it, but, it's about time.
At least you get it done by Memorial Day, we got plenty of time, so.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Got anything?
No.
Someone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.